Hello everyone, welcome back to the tutorials again. So in previous session we have studied about Terzaghis one-dimensional consolidation theory, in which we have studied about the assumptions which are made in Terzaghis theory. We have studied few of the assumptions like this: the soil is homogeneous and isotropic, soil is entirely saturated, means soil does not going to absorb any amount of water. Once the water is going to drop on the soil, it is directly going to penetrate it throughout. So even after that, next assumption is vertical compression and the flow is in one dimension only. So as this particular theory is applicable for one dimensional consolidation, so we have studied that flow is in one dimension. So after that, it obeys Darcy's law. So you know about the Darcy's law. Rate of flow is directly proportional to hydraulic gradient. So fifth one is coefficient of permeability K will remain constant during the consolidation. So K will not change for a particular type of soil, we know that. So it is going to remain constant for during the entire test, they said. So water and the soil particles are incompressible, they are not going to undergo any consolidation, they have said. After that, consolidation takes place in only one direction. That's what we have studied in point number 3 also. So soil is laterally confined. Okay, so there is no obstruction for consolidation or compression, they said. So after that, we have considered a small element whose width is dx and length is dy and whose depth is dz. So yeah, cross-sectional area we are going to consider as a unit, that is 1 into 1. It is going to consider as a 1. So delta z is a reduction in thickness of spoiled specimen as the compression is going to takes place. So after this, we have started with the derivation, we have studied till here. After that, we have started considering about the rate of change in discharge is equal to rate of change in velocity. So this should be velocity, as I have said. So after this, there is a small simplification is there, just you can continue with this. And after this, we have got this particular equation that is going to say that du by dt is equal to cv into d square u divided by dz square. So this is the basic differential equation for Terzaghi's one dimensional consolidation, where cv is equal to coefficient of consolidation, and for the cv we are having the formula like this. Okay, so till here we have studied. After this, we have studied about normally consolidated soil, under consolidated soil and over consolidated soil. So after that, we have studied about over consolidation ratio, that is OCR, which is very important. So OCR is nothing but it is a ratio of greater overburden pressure to the present overburden pressure. So if the present overburden pressure is a maximum of all the past overburden pressures, so then OCR will be equal to 1, and that is called as normally consolidated soil. So if OCR is having a higher value, then the soil will undergo less compressibility and it will show the elastic behavior to some extent. So this is the significance of OCR. So you can go through it. If you are having any doubts, you can raise your queries. Next, consolidation test. To study the compressibility of soil, the laboratory test is being carried out is called as consolidation test. So whatever the amount of compressibility of soil has taken place over the time, we need to find out that. So to prevent the settlement of the building, to prevent the differential settlement as well, we need to find out the compressibility property of the soil. So to find out the compressibility property of the soil, the laboratory test which we are going to carry out is consolidation test. The test is carried out in consolidation test apparatus, which is called as consolidometer or odometer. Remember this. So the test is also called as consolidometer, as well as it is also called as odometer. Okay, so we are going to perform this test by using this tool or this equipment. So the test apparatus consists of there are various types of there are various parts of test apparatus. So mainly there are we are going to divide this test apparatus in three particular parts. That is, one is loading device, second one is consolidation cell or cylindrical container, third one is dial gauge. So loading device, consolidation cell and dial gauge are the three major apparatus of the uh, three major parts this apparatus consists of. So there are two types of consolidometer cells. There are two types of apparatus which we will come across. First one is fixed ring cell, only top stone is going to move. Second one is floating ring cell, that is top and bottom both the stones are going to move. So what are these top and bottom stones? How we are going to judge it as a fixed ring cell, or how we are going to judge it as a floating ring cell, we are going to study further. So you can see over here whatever the soil specimen is there, this is the consolidometer apparatus, which is a fixed ring type, means only top stone is going to move. So I will show you the three apparatus which we will come across. Sorry, I have scrolled out. So that is loading device. So from top we are going to load, or we are going to compress this particular type of equipment, or this particular soil specimen. So that is loading device. Consolidation cell means this is a consolidation cell which consists of soil specimen. On the top of soil specimen there is a top porous stone, on the bottom there is a bottom porous stone, on the sides there is a specimen ring, on the sides there is a specimen ring, and on the bottom most of the specimen there is a guide ring. Okay, next it is covered in a water jacket, it is covered in a water jacket, so we can go through it. After that there is a pressure pad which is placed on the top of the top porous stone, which this pressure pad is attached to the dial gauge. So what we are going to do is we are going to apply the load on this particular loading by using loading frame. We are going to apply the load on this particular pressure pad, and which is going to transfer the load to the soil specimen, which is going to transfer to the load to the soil specimen. So this is a fixed ring consolidation cell, that means only top porous stone is going to move. If it is a floating ring, then the bottom porous stone will also move. From both the axes we are going to compress the soil, and we are going to find out the compressibility. So third important part of this apparatus is dial gauge, which is going to read the pressure which is going to get induced. So this dial gauge is connected to pressure ball bearing. So this pressure ball bearing is connected to the pressure pad. We are going to apply the load to the pressure pad, and which is going to transfer to the top porous stone, and same top porous stone is going to transfer, which is in attached with the soil specimen. So it is going to transfer the load to the soil specimen. Okay, I hope you had understood about the test setup. So this test is given in IS 2720, that is 2720, part number 15. The procedure of this particular test is as follows. So the following procedure is recommended by IS code. So prepare a soil sample either from compacted sample or from undisturbed sample. Either we have to prepare the soil sample by using the compacted soil, or else the undisturbed soil sample which is there in the field as it is, we have to keep it undisturbingly, or else we have to compact the soil and then we have to place it. Diameter of the specimen is 60 mm, thickness is 20 mm. So this diameter of the specimen which we are seeing now is a 60 mm, and the thickness of this layer is 20 mm. Pervious stones are saturated by boiling water in distilled water for 15 minutes. So these saturated stones should not absorb any water. So for that purpose we are going to boil this saturated stones in distilled water for 15 minutes. Filter papers are used to prevent the soil grains entering in porous stones. So here they have not shown, but on this layer of soil specimen, the soil whatever the layer of the soil specimen which is in contact with the porous stone is covered with the filter paper, so that we have to prevent the soil grains entering the um, porous stones which may block the pores. Okay, so even after that we are going to take the precaution for the porous stones that should not absorb the water. Is we are going to boil this porous stones minimum 15 minutes in the distilled water. Next, Third step is complete assembly is mounted on loading frame and the load is applied axially. So you can see this is a complete assembly. This is a complete assembly which is mounted on the loading frame. So top we are going to attach the dial gauge. So on the top porous stone we are going to place the pressure pad on which the pressure ball is attached, and over that dial gauge is attached. Okay, so after this you can see this complete assembly is mounted on loading frame and the load is applied axially. The dial gauges are fixed to allow the sufficient swelling of soil. As we are going to apply the water, or as we are going to place this particular specimen in water jacket, the swelling of soil will take place. That will also be recorded by the dial gauge. Assembly is connected to water container in which water level will be same as water level in the soil sample. So same water level we are going to maintain in this particular water jacket also, as well as in the soil specimen also. Next, assembly is connected to water container in which same level of water is mentioned. Initial load is applied about 5 kilonewton per meter square, and for soft soil it is 2.5 kilonewton per meter square. So initial load we are going to apply. For the hard soil we are going to apply it as a 5 kilonewton per meter square, and for the soft soil 2.5 kilonewton per meter square. So initial load is applied until no change in dial gauge reading, or 24 hours, whichever is less. So we have to apply the initial load until and unless there is no change in dial gauge reading for 24 hours, or for a longer period there is no change which is observed in the dial gauge. Until and unless we are finding out the changes in the dial gauge readings, we have to continue applying the initial load. Once we stop finding the change in dial gauge reading, we have to stop applying this particular initial load. For the increment of loads, that is 10, 20, 30, 40, 80 and 160, 300 and 640 kilonewton per meter square, dial gauge readings are taken. So after applying the initial load, we are going to apply the loads in an increment of 10, 20, 30, 40, 80, 60, 300 and 640 kilonewton per meters cube. Like this, for the each increment we are going to observe the dial gauge reading. So after consolidation undergoes final loading, you can see first we are going to load it with the appropriate increment. After undergoing the final loading, that is 640 kilonewton per meter square, the load is reduced to 1/4. Directly we are going to, after the maximum load which we apply, the load in the on the dial gauge will be reduced to 1/4 directly, that is 160 kilonewton per meter square, and allowed for 24 hours. The specimen takes the water and swells. So you can see over here, as it is covered in the water jacket, once we apply complete load of 160 kilonewton per meter square, we are going to reduce that particular load to 1/4, that is 160 kilonewton per meter square. So which allows the relaxation of the soil, and soil takes the water and it will try to swell. Then dial gauge reading is noted. So for the swelling also we are going to note down the dial gauge reading. Similarly, loads are reduced to 1/4 further till it reaches 10 kilonewton per meter square. So after this, next step is to reduce the load to 1/4 of this 160 kilonewton. So what will be the 1/4 of 160 kilonewton? So 1/4 of 160 kilonewton is 40 kilonewton. So 40 kilonewton. Next, for next instant we are going to reduce the load to the 1/4 of 160 kilonewton, that is 40 kilonewton per meter square, and then soil is allowed to swell for 24 hours. Then we are going to take the dial gauge readings. After that 40 kilonewton per meter square, the further load is going to further we are going to reduce the load by 1/4, that is 40 to the 1/4, that is 10 kilonewton per meter square, and the swelling dial gauge readings are taken after 24 hours. Then finally load is reduced to initial load. What is the initial load which we have applied? 5 kilonewton per meter square in case of hard soil and 2.5 kilonewton per meter square in case of soft soil. So finally the load is reduced to initial load and readings were taken. Specimen is taken and allowed to dry to determine the water content, weight of soil solids, and consolidation data is obtained by determining the following things. So the whatever the specimen is there, that specimen we are going to take out and we are going to find out water content of that specimen, weight of soil solids we are going to find out. After that we are going to find out coefficient of permeability, coefficient of consolidation, wide ratio, and coefficient of volume change. So these all the consolidation data we are going to find out by using this particular test. So you can see over here. So by using that particular test we are going to plot a graph. We are going to plot a graph, that is wide ratio versus log sigma v. So initially you can see as the loading increases, the wide ratio will decrease. As the wide ratio decreases, the loading increases. So at one particular point, so this is a 640 point, at one particular point we are going to reduce the load to the 1/4. So soil is going to swell and it is going to reach to the initial wide ratio. So swelling bar reloading line is this one, normal consolidation line is this one. So by using this particular graph, which we are going to plot by using the consolidation test, is used to find out the consolidation data, that is coefficient of permeability, coefficient of consolidation, wide ratio, and coefficient of volume change. So let us see how we are going to find out the consolidation data by using the graph which we are having. So let us see one by one. So before moving to that, let us study graph in detail. So on y-axis there is a wide ratio, on x-axis there is a log sigma v. So where sigma v is a pressure which we have applied. So you can see recompression line are during the normal consolidation, whatever the initial stage is there, that is called as recompression line. So loading means sigma v increases and E decreases. As we are going to load further, this sigma v will increase and wide ratio will decrease gradually. Okay, so in that whatever the center portion is there, we are going to consider that center portion, as well as we are going to consider the initial portion to find out the consolidation data. Now we will see one by one. Sorry, we'll just continue this graph further. So this is the first line. Second line, you can see once we start reducing the loads to the 1/4, the soil is going to take the water and it is going to swell. That is called as swelling index, or the swelling property of the soil, and this is swelling or reloading line. So first line is normal consolidation line, second line is swelling bar reloading line. So we'll see further coefficient of compression bar compression index, CC. How we are going to find out CC? It is the slope of a normal consolidation line. So this is a normal consolidation line. It is a slope of normal consolidation line in a plot of wide ratio and logarithm of effective stress. So logarithm of effective stress and wide ratio is the plot which we are having. So whatever the slope of normally consolidated line is there, that slope is nothing but coefficient of consolidation. So how we are going to find out the slope, you can see over here. So I am going to take this particular portion, so in which on x-axis I am going to draw the straight lines, and on y-axis I am going to draw the straight lines by using starting point of the curve and ending point of the curve, which is under consideration. Remember, not the beginning point, not the end point. Whatever the curve which is under consideration, that under consideration curve, whatever the under consideration curve is there, that particular part of curve starting and ending we have to consider, and we have to join it to the y-axis starting point, y-axis ending point, and similarly x-axis starting point to the x-axis, ending point to the x-axis, and we are going to find out E1, E2, sigma 1 and sigma 2. So by using all this data, we are going to find out CC by using this particular formula. We are just going to take the ratio and we are going to find out the CC. Okay, so what is the significance of this coefficient of compression? What are the further properties, what are the further compressibility properties of the soil, which we are going to find out, we are going to study further in next session. So you can just go through it. If you are having any queries or any doubts, you can drop your queries or you can directly contact me. Thank you.